Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're looking at something you've probably seen, maybe walked past 1,000 times, and never really given a second thought. Mail sacks.
Mail sacks, yeah. Seems pretty straightforward, doesn't it?
Exactly. But we're actually diving into IS 103.2020 today. That's the Indian standard specifically for woven sacks used in mail sorting. And, well, our mission here, as always, is to dig into the source material and really pull out the important bits. Try and figure out why something like this actually matters, maybe more than you'd think.
It's quite something when you look closer. A standard for, well, a sack. But it's completely essential for the smooth running of these huge operations like, National Postal Service's courier networks. This standard, it kind of quietly makes sure everything holds together, literally.
That's a great way to put it. So if you're curious about how things really tick behind the scenes, especially in logistics, supply chains, that sort of thing,
Yeah.
well, look at IS 14399.2020 should be pretty revealing. Okay, let's unpack this. First things first. What is IS 14399.2020 exactly? And why do we even need such a specific standard for a mail sack? Seems simple enough.
Well, this standard basically lays out all the specific requirements for these woven sacks, the ones used mainly in postal departments, courier operations, that kind of thing. And the main goals are pretty clear. They have to be durable, easy to handle, and this is key, suitable for using again and again. Just imagine the kind of, abuse these sacks take in mail centers. Thrown around, stacked high, dragged. If they weren't up to scratch, you'd have chaos, wouldn't you?
Oh, absolutely. Rip sacks, lost mail.
Exactly. Spilled documents, delays, maybe even safety issues if the material is flimsy. So this standard isn't just about the bag itself. It's about keeping things secure, making sure communication flows, maintaining trust in the whole system. It covers, pretty much everything from the type of plastic used right down to how strong the stitching needs to be.
Wow, okay. That's a lot more involved than I pictured for a simple sack. And you're right, the consequences of them failing are actually quite significant. Can you tell us a bit more about those details?
How specific do these requirements actually get?
Oh, they get really specific. That's where the standard really shows its teeth, so to speak. For instance, the material, it has to be a high quality.
Double-folded stitch seams. That gives them much better strength.
Double-folded seams. Here's where it gets really interesting. That's not just for look then. It's pure engineering to stop them bursting.
Exactly. It's a critical design choice for handling heavy loads of mail.
And you mentioned reusability. They have to be washable too.
Yes, washable and reusable. That's fundamental. Think about the sheer volume. The single-use sacks would be incredibly wasteful and expensive, right?
Makes sense.
And beyond that, there are rules for marking them too. Each sack needs clear markings. Manufacturer's name, the size,
The year it was made.
For traceability.
Yeah, for traceability, accountability. If there's an issue with a batch, you need to know where it came from.
Okay, so you've got these really detailed specs material, So how much it can stretch before tearing?
Basically, yes.
Yeah.
How much force it can take. Then there's a specific seam strength test, checking those double-folded stitches. And depending on the exact use case, tests for water repellency or maybe water absorbency. Plus, a washability test to confirm they really can be reused multiple times. And of course, simple checks on dimensions and capacity.
Oh.
Does it hold what it's supposed to?
And who does this testing? Can anyone do it?
No. It has to be done by a laboratory that's recognized by BIS, the Bureau of Indian Standards. They're the body that sets the standard. And ideally, the lab should also be accredited under ISO IE 1700125.
That's the international standard for lab competence, right?
Exactly. It means the lab's results are considered reliable, technically sound.
That is seriously thorough. It shows how much effort goes into making sure even something like a mail sack does its job reliably, day after day. This raises an important question. What does all this actually mean for the companies, the manufacturers, the suppliers making these sacks?
Well, that brings us to certification. For manufacturers or suppliers, especially if they want to sell to, say, government departments or the Postal Service, or respond to official tenders, BIS certification under IS 14399.20/20 might actually be mandatory. It's often not optional.
So it's a gatekeeper for market access, really.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a crucial step. And the certification process itself, it involves several stages. First, you need to get your sample product approved against the standard, IS 14399. Then, that rigorous testing we talked about in a BIS-approved lab. And depending on the scheme, there's one called the FMCS, Factory Management and Control Scheme. There might even be a factory inspection.
They actually come visit the factory.
Yes, to check that the quality control processes in the factory are up to scratch for consistent production. It's about ongoing quality, not just a one-off sample. And then finally, if everything passes, the manufacturer gets to use the ISI mark on their sacks.
The ISI logo, that's the well-known quality mark in India, isn't it?
That's the one. It signals compliance and quality.
Well,
So, what does this all mean for your business? I mean, getting into this, it sounds like quite a hurdle.
It is a significant process, yeah. It requires commitment for Indian manufacturers and also for overseas companies wanting to export these sacks to India for, say, government tenders. The key advice is really to design the product to the standard right from the start. Don't try to retrofit. Make sure the labeling is right, the stitching meets spec. Keep really good quality.